Hi, this is Glenda, and today I'm going to show you how to make some flamingos for a flamingo soap. I'm going to start with a round shape that I'm rolling between my palms to make it into a teardrop shape, but I'm going to flatten the end. This is going to be the body of the flamingo. Then, with a pointy tool, I'm going to create an indentation at the base of this shape, and this is where the neck is going to go. Next, I'm gonna roll some soap dough to make the neck, and I'm just rolling it into a snake shape, and I'm making sure that the end of it is going to be rounded because that's where the head is going to be. Then I'm just going to shape it into like an inverted S shape because you know how flamingos have that very long neck. Now, to keep it from breaking on these embeds, I'm going to put it very close together so that it comes back and it lays on top of the body. Now it's time to add the beak. So I'm preparing the place where it's gonna go, creating another indentation with a tool. And I made the beaks in advance. You can see them in the background with black, pink, and white soap dough. And I'm going to make sure that the end is pointy so that it goes well into the indentation, and I'm also going to moisten it with distilled water. The distilled water acts like glue. I also made some legs, but I didn't film that, and those are just sticks pretty much, and also added the eyes. Now it's time to make the actual soap. This is the recipe that I will be using and notes that I made for myself. I'm going to prepare the colorants first. This is going to be for the background. I want the flamingos to look as if they are on either a lake, a pond, or somewhere where there is water, and the reflection of their color to be in the background as well. So that's why I have some pink. This pink ended up being more like a skin color, peach color, so I wasn't very happy with it, but it will work. In this container, I have the live water solution, and I'm measuring what I need. I also added a little extra of distilled water because I want the soap to perform well, like I want it to stay fluid for the technique that I will be using, which is the thin lines technique. And you can achieve this in many ways. I will be using a divided cup that I 3D printed. For fragrance, I'm using bergamot and honey. It's one of my favorite fragrances from Nurture Soap. I needed to do a little bit of math to figure out how many ounces I need to put into each container so that they all have about the same amount of soap butter. Then I'm going to stir the colors into each one. And after doing that, I let them sit for a couple minutes because at this point they hadn't reached trace yet. They were still out of motion. But after a couple minutes, it seems they were reaching light trace. So it was time to pour the soap into the container. This is a container similar to the one that they use to do the acrylic pours, except that instead of acrylic, I'm using soap. The two colors in the center seem to be the ones that come out first, but eventually I started seeing the two teal shades. And I'm tilting the mold so that I can do a wall pour better. And I'm going to continue this until I fill half of the mold because I will be using it as a slab mold. Next, I'm going to cover this with some present seal, and I'm going to put a piece of wood on top. Then I'm going to move it to the side where I have a heating pad, and I'm gonna let it sit on it on high for about 2 hours. This is to promote gel face. I'm also going to cover it with a blanket, and I'm going to leave it there for a couple of days so that I can avoid soda ash. After 2 days, I'm ready to cut them. The soap feels soft because I'm using a recipe with more fluid oils, so it's gonna take a little bit longer to harden, but it's hard enough for me to cut it. So I'm gonna leave you with some pictures of how they look in the end, and thank you for joining me this week. I'll see you next. Bye.